We're at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the PSCA Test and Tune session on Friday. Behind us, our Vortech supercharged 2011 Mustang that's pumping out 600 horsepower to the rear tires. We drove it here, we're going to drive it home, and we're going to show you how we picked up 170 horsepower to the rear tires of this 2011 GT. We started our 2011 Mustang project just like any other project starts, with the basic bolt-ons. So we did a SCT tune, air rate intake, JPC header back. We made 428 real horsepower as is and ran a best of a 780 in the 8th mile. We knew we wanted to take the next step with our forced induction fix. That's why we turned to Vortech superchargers. We've been making superchargers for over 20 years to see what kind of power numbers we can put out with their basic system. Vortech superchargers have been making supercharging systems since the Fox body era. To mark this 20th anniversary, they decided to make this limited edition blackout system. The blackout system is really nice because it's sleek and gives you a really OEM feel underneath the hood. We do know that with the Vortech systems, Terry Reeves had took one of the prototype kits well into the 1080s right off the bat. All right, so we got about 4 runs under our belt now. Car's been performing great, cutting about 160, 60 foot times. That's with the lowered suspension and the Mickey Thompson drag radial, so really good on that. After the 60 foot, we kind of take it easy, shifting it like 6,500 RPM, letting out about 1,000 feet. We don't have a roll cage in the car yet. We can't run faster than 1150s without getting kicked out. We'll put the cage in it, get the competition air inlet in there, get the Brinsby tune, and 10 should be no problem. Any assembly first starts at the disassembly, and as you see, the front bumper cover is taken off our Mustang, so we've taken the air rate intake system off, taken the fan shroud out, drained the coolant system, taken some of our coolant hoses off, and our factory coolant reservoir. This massive 3.5-inch thick Vortech front mount intercooler. This thing's going to support 1,000 horsepower, no problem. Next, we're going to get into installing the bracket system on the motor, and then we'll check back with you then. All right, we're in the second phase of our installation here. We got our new coolant overflow tank installed, new coolant lines ran. Also, as you can probably tell, throttle body's off the car, but normally it sits like this. With the drive motor on the side over here, it can create some interference with the supercharger. Vortech includes a spacer and has you invert it. It doesn't hurt anything. And with this, you get proper clearance to the supercharger. And with supercharger in mind, we have the bracket system on the car. It uses all the factory holes on the front of the motor here for threading purposes to hold the inner bracket in. You have the idlers and your drive pulleys in here in your outer shell. The Vortech will actually bolt right in here. So Sean's behind us finishing up the supercharger install on our 2011 Mustang, and we got Mike Regan here from Vortech Superchargers. He's the engineering manager. Now, Mike, what is the difference between the 4.6 and the 5.0 systems?
The main differences are the supercharger location. The 2011 places it on the passenger side. The previous Model 3 valve is on the driver's side. Mass air type on the 2011 is a blow-through. It's on the pressure side of the supercharger. The earlier 3 valve employs a draw-through. And probably the third difference is the charge air cooler type. The 2011, we use an air-to-air with 3-inch mandrel bent aluminum tubing, and the earlier 2005 to 2010 uses an air-to-water type. Currently we have our smog certification in process.
Vortech does offer a 2011 Mustang limited powertrain warranty that covers up to 3 years, 36,000 miles of the vehicle's total mileage. And you can get all the information on that on Vortech's website. Now let's go back to Sean as he finishes up the install on our 2011 Mustang. We're pretty much wrapped up underneath the engine bay here. As you can see, the V-3 SI trim, 20th anniversary black kit is on the 2011 Mustang. This comes pre-oiled from Vortech, so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, we also got our GT500 52-pound injectors. The factory air box is here. K&N air filter panel is inside. They do also offer a cold air race system. Vortech says it's good for about 3/4 pound of boost due to the lust restriction and about 25 horsepower. The Vortech tune is super safe right out of the box. Gives you really conservative air-fuel ratio numbers, but we wanted to turn it up a little bit, but still keep our air-fuel ratio safe. So we turned to Brent White over at Brent Speed to develop a tune for us. This gave us an increase of 35 horsepower and 30 pound-feet of torque comparing the Vortech tune to Brent Speed tune on the stock airbox, and also 26 horsepower and 21 pound-feet of torque comparing the competition air inlet on the stock tune versus the Brent Speed tune. This gave us total power numbers of 595 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque. With a little extra tuning, 600 horsepower is totally feasible. The great thing about this Vortech system is that it's just so easy to drive. It drives just like a normal car. The boost is very linear, so that means it comes in with the power band. So boost just keeps coming all the way through the RPM band. We'll give you a little sample here. So that's 530 horsepower to the tires as is. We have the ability to go all the way up to 600 horsepower with a tune and an intake. Now you're talking about a car that you have AC, cruise control, stereo. I can throw the drag rails in the trunk, go to the track and run low 11 second or high 10 second quarter mile times with no problem.